Testing 1, 2, 3. hello to anyone joining right now. I'm just sketching some soft robots right here, studying up on what the components of them look like, to maybe try designing my own at some point in the future. No specific goal in mind beyond that. If you've heard of soft robotics before and want to make some recommendations of ones that I should look at, that would be much appreciated. Otherwise, you can ask questions, make comments, and I will try and respond in a timely manner. Do you make sure to draw every single day? I try and draw every single day. It varies how detailed those drawings are. But one way to help yourself draw every single day is even to make your notes somewhat visual notes. Right? It's not necessarily sketches of robots like I'm doing right now, but you gotta buy something from the grocery store, then make a note with like a little orange if you're planning on buying some oranges. So little tricks, just get a little sketching in every day. I definitely don't sketch for myself every day, but that is something I am trying to make the time for. Emphasis on the word make, right? You gotta set that time aside for something you want to do. And today I felt like sketching some robots. Well, not just any robots, like these like soft robots, because I watched a cool video the other day about them. So I decided I want to learn just a bit more about these soft robots. And one way for me to learn about things is to sketch them out. It helps me commit the forms and the details into my mind. So I don't sketch for myself every day, but I'm making the time to do so. I think that's kind of like some of the value of some of those not competitions, but those like monthly art challenges online of like Marja Robots or anything else like that. It just encourage you to get that pen moving, or pencil, or whatever else is using to sketch, but to get it moving so you get some practice in there every day. Though it is important to be sure you're taking some breaks sometimes. Don't want to overstress yourself so that the thing you're doing for fun is no longer fun anymore. So if you play any sports, I often use that as an analogy to how you might approach sketching. Right? You're not going to practice every single day, otherwise you're going to get worn out on it. Are you trying to sketch every single day, but it's hard to find the time? It's one thing I've found that helps me is just to can keep a sketchbook open on my desk so you can just do a little bit every day, even if that little bit is just some like notes of what I have to do for the day. Some silly idea I have. But that little bit, so I just don't have to think about it as much, right? So it's the tools are already there. I don't have to worry about getting them out. You want to remove as many barriers and excuses as possible. So all you have to do is get out there and sketch, and they don't have to be great sketches every day. And even more so than great sketches, just being sure if you're having fun. And there's a difference between like sketching to improve and sketching to have fun. They can of course overlap, but they can also just be completely different. So if you're learning some new technique, right? It might be kind of frustrating, so it can be nice to just sketch in a more comfortable style that you get reliable and enjoyable results from, not as a replacement for that learning that new technique, but just in complement that once you start to get better with this new technique, you might enjoy it as much as you do your old technique. Definitely see a lot of people sort of slow down their growth in sketching and learning new things, so they gotta get hung up on how they used to draw, and they don't want to try the new thing because it doesn't look as good as their old stuff, and it doesn't look as good as their old stuff just because they haven't had that much practice in it, and that's okay. Right? If you're just learning something that you're not great at it at first. But you do got to put that time in there for it to get better. Drawing exercises after work. Nice. What kind of drawing exercises do you do? Are you following some tutorials? Are you doing something from a class? And because exercises can be fun, so I'm just curious if you feel like you're having fun or not. Because if you're having fun, then it's easy to go to. And if you're not having fun, then it can be a little tough. And when it gets tough, and I kind of look at some inspiration of maybe people working in the style that I'm learning. So that motivates me that, okay, I know I'm not as good as that right now, but if I keep practicing, it'll get better. And then to save your old work, right, to compare what you were like 4 weeks ago, 4 months ago after practicing, and you should be able to see some difference. And also, depending what level you're at, that difference that you might see may not necessarily be in the quality of your work, but it could also just be in the time it takes you to do that work. So I often will try and keep track of how long it takes me to do a sketch, so that I can look at it and say, well, 2 months from now, this looks the same as what I was doing 2 months ago, but I'll realize when I look at the time that maybe it took me half as much time to do, right? So I am getting better, just in how fast I'm able to do the same quality sketch. It's a constructive drawing course from Rush. There's a lot of drawing through still a novice after 6 years on and off. Yeah, that on and off stuff is tough. That consistent practice will make a big difference. You start and stop again. Takes a long time. I've been starting and stopping, trying to learn Blender. There's always an excuse to stop when things get a little difficult and not as easy. What time is this? Like 30 minutes on this. I guess there's still space. No, there's no space down there. It's always difficult to want to, easy to stop when things get a little too difficult. But just gotta pick it up again. Keep moving. It'll get better. The basics are also always the hardest because you're just practicing perspective and some other simple techniques here. Actually, let me bring up Chrome. This is just the references that I'm looking at as I'm sketching. There's a random search for soft robotics. Oh, I really like this one. Now it's drying out. I'll go fill that in later, but I think I have another marker line around here. That was a 3. You got another 3 right here. That is nice and full. What are some, so true, drawing cubes in perspective can be tricky for me. Yeah, the cubes, again, the cubes in perspective, that is just, that's practice. I mean, I would say one of the things, it's easy to tell people to practice, and I don't know what they're telling you, but one thing that can be nice is tracing over some existing stuff, right, just so you get a feel for what is correct, right? I'm not saying to trace over in place of like whatever homework they're asking you to do, but if you want to get a feel for it in like loose sketching, just tracing over some existing products can be useful towards building that kind of muscle memory of what is correct perspective. Being able to approach a problem from multiple angles is important. Hey Joey, what does this say? Stop it. I'll still do that as a hobby. Question: Do I think it's okay for you to post your works online? Absolutely. I mean, there's no police online to say you can't post the work you're doing. I mean, there's police online to say you can't post the work of other people, what the other people are doing, but absolutely you can post your own work online. You know, you can post online just to share with friends and family and things like that. You can post online to, I mean, I wouldn't worry about getting attention. If you just want to share it, you want to share it. Right now, I'm sketching online because, like, I want to sketch, well, today robots, but also I just want to interact with people and see what they're interested in learning in relation to sketching, because I'm always trying to improve myself as an instructor, and just hearing people's questions is part of that. And I get only so many questions from the students where I work, so this is an opportunity to get questions and even like opinions and ideas from those who I might not normally interact with in my day-to-day teaching. In particular, for Turkey, if you're still here, you say you're taking this class in Russian. I'm curious, what are some Russian artists out there, Russian designers out there, whether it's like product design or industrial design or entertainment design, that you're looking at, that you're inspired by? Because I'd like to go see some of those people's work. And I could search, of course, online, but it's always interesting, like I said, to hear what other people are looking at and thinking. It's just a little bit of a shortcut to finding some tips, in the same way that I just told you about the tracing thing. Right, you asking that question gives you one more way to approach your work now, because I told you something just slightly different than maybe what your instructors told you. And if you tell me some artists you like, then again, it's a shortcut for me to find some new people I might be interested in. Glad you enjoyed taking the classes. It's also glad that you realized that you don't want. I assume you realized you didn't want to do it. You only want to do it as a hobby and not as a career. That's an important thing to learn, particularly before you go to a art design school where you might spend a lot of money on it. And so, knowing that it's like just for fun is a very useful experience. I wish I sketched a person in there for scale. What is this robot called? This is a Stanford soft robot. I'm trying to make note of the isoperimetric robot. All right, isoperimetric robot. Make notes so that if I want to find any of these things in the future, I can. Isoperimetric. From Stanford. Psychology. That's fantastic. Let's see if this video zooms in on that joint. Well, if you do study psychology, depending exactly what you do with it, you could definitely take that into the design field. Ooh, there is a close-up of that joint. And so, Joe, if you're still here, I'm assuming you are going to post some of your work online. And don't. Yes, yes, you'd be getting attention if you did that, but I would not think of it as like if you're only doing it to get attention.
I would think it more again, you're doing it to share. I'm just in an online drunk because I'm be from Russia. Oh yeah, but you live in Canada. What? So if you're at this course that's in Russia, what was it about the? What was it about that one that drew you to it? What were they doing that you liked? Because yeah, there's online courses all over the place. So there's definitely no limitation for anyone from any place taking it from any one location. I just remember hearing about some guy one time from Russia who could do perfect freehand ellipses at any degree because he didn't know that ellipse guides were a thing. He just saw everyone else doing these great ellipses, and he assumed everyone else was freehanding them. So he just taught himself to freehand ellipses, and then he met some people who were like, no, we use guides for that stuff. But now he has that skill because he assumed it was possible. And because he assumed it was possible, it was. He just did a lot of work to make it a reality. Soft robot powered by a vacuum. Someone in India. Vacuum powered soft robot from École Polytechnique Fédérale. Ooh, EEPFL in Switzerland. We'll do that. EPFL in Switzerland. How does that even work? I just indicating the details. Yes, I am just I'm not going too far into the details of these things because I can't get too close to them. It's hard to find right now multiple images of it. I'm just trying to think about the simple forms that make them up, and exactly like you're saying, indicate a little bit of the detail in there, because I'm like not quite sure. Like I see what looks like a cylinder and something else. Maybe it's like a block in between right there. So I'm not going to worry too much about getting it 100% correct. I just want to have fun right now. It's a slow fun, and what I mean by slow fun is that I am taking my time to sketch these. I'm not going too fast because I'm sitting here searching for different soft robotics that I might be inspired by, informed by. So yeah, indicating details, keep it loose, search for big forms. It's kind of like I'm studying for a test. No one's actually going to test me on this, but taking these notes, right, like in detail like this, is going to help me to do better on that test. In particular, like for here with all these like repeated details, I'm not gonna put all of them in there. I'm gonna just let them having more detail in this one area, and then the rest of them I'll leave pretty loose, so I don't have to do all of them. These are particularly because these are like studies. This is to understand form. It's not is a illustration to sell this idea to somebody. I'm looking at other people's ideas right now. So these are mostly study sketches. And study sketches don't have to look great. But in the same way that you might take notes, and if you can understand your notes, or if you write legibly, then those notes will be more useful to you in the future. So they don't have to be super clean. And like also just for indication. But this way I can go through and study a good amount of the robots here without taking forever to do so. So looking for some interesting things here. Starting to see some repeated patterns over and over again. Some repeated features, so that right in this little blue one up here, right, we can see it's a similar finger in this one as it is up there. So I was quick here, and it's going to help me be a little quicker when I sketch that one. Quicker, but not necessarily quick. Like I said, just loose, fun, searching for what I want to do right now. And if I didn't want any challenge at all, I'd draw something that I'm like super familiar with. But I do want a bit of a challenge, and that's like sort of towards that question earlier about, you know, do I sketch every day? And you know, one of the things that I don't do when I sketch every day is always provide myself a challenge, because I might be doing some things I've done before. So one of my goals here is to have some challenge. And now, like, as I add more details, I'm like slowly realizing little ways this thing was probably put together here. And also that this might come out right here. And this one comes out right there. Is there a finger on the other side? You know what? I'm going to take a guess and say yes, there is, because it feels empty without it having there. So that's not even in the reference. I'm just adding that in there because I want to. I think that'll make a slightly better looking sketch. I'm taking a Russian course because I want to learn how to draw forms from memory, but mainly the course is dirt cheap. No, that's that's not a bad way to go about it. Right. I know lots of people in the U.S. go over to Southeast Asia to learn to scuba dive. Well, not lots of people, but those who can afford the flight over go over there to learn to scuba dive, because the pricing is a lot less in various places in Southeast Asia. Also, probably it's because it's different than your native waters. It's visually interesting that way, but the price of the ticket and the certification is less than just the certification directly here in the U.S. So it's a pretty good trade-off. So if you can do that right with your sketching, then all the more power to you. Also, I'm realizing I think I want to go and learn how to scuba dive now. Like, not this immediate moment. But these soft robots, a single end of an arm tool. (2016). This is pretty old. All right, hoping to find some different looking robots here, because they're all, I guess, the difficult thing about soft robotics is that they can be so varied right now. We got people doing lots of different designs. Interesting and difficult. Right. So what's interesting about it is we got a variety. What's difficult about it is I have variety. Right. So the same thing that attracted me to them is also making it more difficult to sketch them, because it's hard to indicate details when they are just not as repeating as like a joint for some sort of knee might be in a hard robot. We can have so many different joints in these soft robots, and that flexibility and that adaptability, that variability makes for a many unique robots over any specific standard robot. Thank you. I would say you have your reasons for saying that they're beautiful. I would say one reason I think they are is because I'm being pretty conservative with my lines. Right, I'm being conservative with my lines so there's not too many, so it doesn't get too confusing, I hope. And then I'm also being pretty conservative with how I'm editing what I'm sketching, right? So that note question from someone earlier about am I indicating details? Right, so this one right here, it's starting to look like a hard robot, right? When this is supposed to be cloth, but I don't have the right. I'm not going to sit here and hatch out cloth texture on this very simple sketch. And I'm also missing like all these little details here, but right, I can just put little squiggly marks, not too squiggly. There's definitely some structure there to some of those. So if I can indicate that a little bit, it'll feel like there's actually more there than there is. What is the name of this one? It's a lab in Cambridge. Did I read that correctly? No. Nu Skins technology developed by Yale. Ooh, Yale. So Nu Skins Tech by Yale University. So if I want to learn about some soft robots and practice it myself, looks like I gotta go get a PhD. Draws out the clear elements of a Barg plate minus the rendering. I'll have to go look up Barg if I'm saying that correctly. Alright, so there in the background, just letting the marker do a lot of the work, and then coming back with the pen and just kind of outlining it. So it seems like there's even more detail than I even put down. In particular, because there's so much of a repeating patterns in there. We see something in one spot, we project it somewhere else. I want to go look up this Barg plate. Oh yeah, I definitely don't have the rendering there. Oh, but I like this foot right here. Yeah, no. I really love this right here, right? Oversimplifying the foot form, and then getting into like where the light falls on it, and then adding a little bit of the smaller formations in the foot, and going like I really like this. I didn't know about bark plates at all. I like them. Well, let's save that one for later. And right, that's why I'm sketching here right now, is I'll discover things that I knew nothing about before. Looking for some more soft robots. What is this one? Disney robot. It looks so much more like a regular robot. This is soft robot muscle lifting a tire. How does that work? I'd love to see a different image of it. Interesting. Oh, I like that stretching one, but these images are so small. We'll save that for later too. This is what I was searching for, something kooky and silly like that. Another 30 minutes for this. I think I'm gonna do one more page and then call it a night. And I assume if this next page is anything like the previous ones, it's gonna be about half an hour. And we got this explosive jumping robot by Kevin Galloway. Is this a real thing, or did he make this? Yeah, this is real. All right. Got some big simple forms up there. Actually, I'm still not sure if this thing is real or not. Explosive jumping robot. Kevin Galloway. Yeah, we saw this skin thing earlier, but let's go look at that one too. That's gonna be hard to illustrate as a robot. I like the lattice structure there. That's more about 3D printing. We'll move away from that for now. Running out of soft robots. There's gotta be more than that. Oh. You know, I fell asleep watching this movie. Nothing against it. I was really tired. Jet lagged after a flight. So I literally like saw the opening, then woke up at the end and did not understand the joke at all. That was at the end of the movie. And I haven't watched it. But now maybe I should. This one's fun. Ooh. That one's also fun. Yeah, these soft robots are really just because they start to get very organic and they're less like robots. More like sea creatures. So many opportunities of what they could be. Let's get sketching. That one. Yep, let's do this one then. Kind of like Big Hero 6 there. What I do enjoy about these robots is always like cables going around them. And you can absolutely imagine them being a bit more designed in how they flow around that robot. Oh, Saul. That's I've met him a few times. Alright. Is there a name for this robot? No, we'll just say it's out of... What is this current name? Soft and flip robot. We don't know the name of this robot. Okay. We'll just say by Saul Griffith then. Let's go find some other robots. I do like that. So we got this like fish thing here, and we got all of this here. And just some things to look for. We got those like bevels we saw in the others. So all that practice. From all those other things we were sketching starts to pay off with this one. Lead image of soft robotic snake courtesy of WPI. Below soft. Why doesn't it say where this image comes from? Meshworm. We'll say fish robot. From Verge article. And we got robotic fish. Oh, it's almost like the one we're looking at right now, or we just looked at. Very much like the one we just looked at. A little bit of a soft robot, a little bit of a hard robot all together there. MIT CSAIL robotic fish. Space for at least one more. Let's see if we can find something interesting, something new, some soft robot have not seen yet. Probably looking for robot articulation or robot muscles in the future. I think I'll be doing this again. Got a series of different robots. Soft gripper. No additional soft robots. Oh, what's this little squid thing? Yeah, we might have to end with this one. Well, that loads up, I'll just start sketching it. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Some little indication of the transparency in there. Squid robot or soft octopus from, who makes this? Soft octopus then. Easy to draw my curves going out like this. Finish up this fish right here. To anyone just joining, I've been on here for about an hour and 20 minutes now, sketching some soft robots. As I finish up this page here, I'll show you the previous pages that I did, and once the stream ends, you can go back and watch me sketch some of them if you're so interested. I will be probably signing off pretty soon. So if you have any questions or comments that you want me to address right away, you should ask it now. Type it now. I was just doing soft robots because it's what I felt like doing for fun today.
watched a video about them not too long ago. And was super intrigued. By the opportunities they presented for what robots can do, but also by the opportunities they presented for how we can design them and think a little bit differently about robots. Definitely some people talking about how these robots might be useful for Mars, and that was super exciting. So doing these sketches is my way of starting to study these robots. This one doesn't really count, but it does make me want to consider actually going back and finally finishing that movie. Good evening, Tao. Or good morning? What is the time zone we're at? Morning for you. Good morning. Well, I'm a breakfast person, so as a breakfast person, I hope you had a good breakfast. Whether you're a breakfast person or not, I hope you had breakfast that was satisfactory to you. All right. And this was also about 25 minutes. All right. So turn the reference off up here. I just finished my last page of soft robots that I was just studying from various sources online. This is my third page. Here's my second page looking at some of them. And here's the first page looking at some soft robots. The most difficult things about soft robots, they're so different from each other.
But it was also the most intriguing thing about them is that they don't have the traditional joints we see. So it was tough to learn from them when they're so varied, but it was enjoyable for me. So I think I'm gonna try and be back on here next week with some same time with some more sketching. Maybe I'll do one of those YouTube schedules that so you know that I'm doing this. All right. I hope everyone has a good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time zone you're at, and I'll hear and see from you later. Take care. Thank you for joining.